Welcome to In the Envelope, an awards podcast. I am your host, Jack Smart, awards editor at Backstage. I'm here to give you a front row seat to the Emmys, Oscars, SAG, and Tonys races. Who is in the running? What makes an award-worthy performance? And what are the secrets to giving one? These intimate, inspirational conversations with some of today's most talented stars provide you, dear listener, the kind of craft and career advice that could win you a statue of your own, and maybe, just maybe, a tantalizing glimpse in the envelope.
Challenge yourself. Find the fun in things and find the play in all of it, because I find those bigger projects that you have down the line, it's most times what gets you to book it is your sense of play.
So you're on that coast, I'm on this coast.
Yeah.
We are going to make this work, aren't we?
It's going to be exciting. We're utilizing all the technology available, and
Indeed.
The listeners should not be able to tell any difference.
No, I think it's just basically the same business as usual is what I'm thinking.
Just a bit sunnier.
It's a bit sunnier for me. So maybe, you know what? I might just be in a better mood for these podcast interviews from here on out. I wonder. Well, I was in a great mood for today's guest. What a transition to Divine Joy Randolph, who is the star of Netflix's Dolemite Is My Name, which is the Rudy Ray Moore biopic from Craig Brewer, starring Eddie Murphy and Wesley Snipes and Keegan-Michael Key and Titus Burgess and Divine, who's a Tony-nominated actress, but otherwise I think this is kind of a big break for her. We like our big breaks, don't we?
Yeah. You got a good track record of sniffing out people who are going to do well.
Absolutely. Well, and after today's interview, I just think she's totally, if the movie itself wasn't confirmation that she's a star on the rise or a star already, this interview certainly is, because she's just got charisma for days. This interview completely speaks for itself.
Yeah.
I did rattle off some very backstagey questions about auditions and roles and stuff at the end, but truly all of this was primo career advice. Divine is someone who didn't necessarily know what she wanted to do, but her success is not an accident. She works really hard. I loved hearing about her different process with dialects and with survival jobs. She talks about how survival jobs can be really helpful for auditions and how auditions are the real work. Remember that thing Bryan Cranston always said about auditions? Or what Bryan Cranston said to us in the podcast?
This is the nitty-gritty of the stuff that everyone wants to know.
Yes.
People's origin stories, how they get to where they get to be.
Totally. Yeah.
Little tips and tricks, behind-the-scenes stuff.
Tips and tricks. And I think for us, for the purposes of this podcast, for Backstage, we get to look back years from now and say, oh, we knew her when.
Yeah.
You know? We called it.
Little shared glory.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, it's only the beginning for Divine, so we got to get to it. This episode is brought to you by Universal Pictures' Queen and Slim, the unflinching new drama about a black man and a black woman on a first date who are forced to go on the run after they shoot a police officer in self-defense. As they drive, these two unlikely fugitives will forge a deep and powerful love that will shape the rest of their lives. Starring Academy Award and SAG Award nominee Daniel Kaluuya as Slim, and introducing Jodie Turner-Smith as Queen. For your SAG Award consideration in all categories, including Outstanding Performance by a Cast in a Motion Picture. Star on the rise, Divine Joy Randolph was nominated for a Tony Award for Ghost the Musical after growing up in Pennsylvania and studying acting at the Yale School of Drama. As the real-life Lady Reed in Netflix's new film Dolemite Is My Name, directed by Craig Brewer, and starring Eddie Murphy as comedian and blaxploitation visionary Rudy Ray Moore, Divine is having a breakthrough moment playing an actor having a breakthrough moment. Here she is, the wise and wonderful Divine Joy Randolph. So you're only here for the day because you're going back. Where are you? What are you doing right now? You're filming?
Yeah, I'm filming Lee Daniels' Billie Holiday, and we film in Montreal.
Wow.
So, yeah, I take that 6 a.m.
Oh, wow.
straight on back tomorrow.
Okay,
No, but I
wow.
really wouldn't have it no other way. I'm grateful to be a part of both projects.
Yeah, you gotta come back and keep promoting Dolemite, which just came out. Congratulations! It's such a great.
Thank you
such
so
a great movie.
much.
It's so great. I was just talking to Eddie Murphy about the movie.
Ooh, how are you feeling right now? You're pretty special.
Well, I'm not the special. You're the one who I got to hear about your audition process. You got to hear about how you got involved. I want to know about Lady Reed. But first of all, welcome to Backstage's podcast. Did you know Backstage? You ever use Backstage for casting notices?
Come on. I
You
am
did?
a theater-based actress.
Yes.
Of course
Yes,
I
yes,
knew
yes.
Backstage. Are you kidding?
Good. Okay. Good.
Of course.
Was it like
Absolutely.
did you do it during college? Not during Yale, maybe, but were you at Temple University?
Well, when you were like looking for like summer job, like summer performance type jobs, or I mean, I did a little because I wanted to keep my agents on their toes, so I was like, I can still look too on my end.
Yeah, you want to know.
See, that's right, and see what they have going on. But yeah, definitely, that was a huge resource for me.
That's excellent. What kind of gigs were you going out for?
At the beginning of my career.
Yeah. The Backstage
predominantly
era.
in the beginning, theater, predominantly theater, stuff and Broadway, and not as much television because I did not get into television until I was so when we found out that Ghost was closing, I said to my team, the plan was always to go to Los Angeles, but my agency Paradigm signed me in New York, and they said, just stay here till pilot season. And so I signed with them in like August, like late August, booked Ghost the Musical in September. And so then did it in the West End, came back, did it on Broadway, and we closed, I want to say, September then of that year. And then so I said, okay, well, we're going to go back to the original plan. I'm going to go to Los Angeles. And so I said to them, I want to do a play, I want to do a movie, and I want to do a TV show before I leave New York. Yep. And so that
sweet.
First week, they were like, yep, we're on it. And I had 5 auditions, and I booked 3 of the 5. And it was a TV show, a movie, and a play. It was Robin Williams' last movie. Yeah, it was Robin Williams' last movie. It was The Good Wife. And it was, I did a play at the Atlantic Theater Company. Their first, not their first, but I originated a role. In What Rhymes with America with Chris Bauer. And it was interesting because everyone in that cast was from Los Angeles. So I was around all these LA people, and that's when I was like, I feel like maybe because we were ending like New Year's Day, and
Cool.
at that time, that was kind of like, right? Like the new year is like the unspoken, like if you're going to go to LA for pilot season, even though pilot season is like all throughout, but in way of network, like that would be the time to go. And so, that's when I was like, all right, I'm going. So TV wasn't really a thing.
No.
I mean, Good Wife, but I remember as I was filming The Good Wife, I was leaving to go test for a pilot. So TV was all new at that moment.
Right. And none of this was all after Yale. Like before now, it was mostly just theater work, right?
My first job was Ghost. My second job was, super blessed. My first job was Ghost. My second job was Robin Williams' movie, Angriest Man in Brooklyn with Mila Kunis and Melissa Leo, and Peter how do you say his last name?
Peter Dinklage.
Dinklage, yeah.
Cool.
And then The Good Wife. I ended with The Good Wife.
Yeah,
that was my 4th job, and then did shot a pilot, didn't get picked up, and then after that, then I had Selfie, and then it just went on from there.
Right, and so I love this. You wanted a TV show, a film, and a play. You wanted all three.
Yeah, because the blessing in New York is a bit of a smaller market, so I was starting to understand through my auditions, even projects that were being done here, like on the TV film spectrum, the shots were still being called in Los Angeles.
Yeah, for sure.
And so when I was getting my feedback, and I'd be like, well, it's okay, so what happened? What can I work on? Like, why didn't I book it? And then it's, this girl just came in and, just charmed the pants off of him or whatever. And I was like, oh, no. Then I have to go to the Mecca. If that's what this, if I'm going to do this, like, I got to go there. And so, yeah, that kind of was the transition.
Yeah, wow.
For me at that point. Because the beautiful thing is when you, in getting nominated for a Tony, everyone kind of got to know me all at once. You know what I mean? So
totally.
There's certain rooms and doors and offices, if you will, that it would be desirable, attainable to get in a real quick flurry. I got in them, and so then it was really like, do you have a project? No. And if you did, then you're picking the girl in LA. Okay, it kind of, all things kind of was pointing towards like, this is what you have to do. And so then I came to Los Angeles.
Yeah, you're listening to the universe in that case. Well, that's actually great advice. I mean, on this podcast, we're all about advice for career, actors at every point in their career.
Absolutely.
And it sounds like, the Tony nomination, there's a case to be made for, you got to strike while the iron is hot, right?
Yes. You also have to stay true to yourself and define who you are, not only as a person, but that's not most importantly, but it's equally important for you to define yourself as a person and as an artist. And so the last interview I did, I said to them, listen, every job that I have booked, none of them have been ones that I've requested or asked for via seeing on Backstage or Deadline. You know what I mean? None of those projects I booked. None of them. So that's saying something. You know what I mean? Like, these things are falling in my lap and are bigger dreams that I would have ever had the courage to pray for or dream, And
That's
so when you focus your energy on that, on who you are as a person, on who you are as an artist, what you want, the particulars, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The specifications of what that role then is, will come to you. You'll attract it. You manifest that.
Right.
So I don't get right. So I conduct myself in regards to my artistry through ideology, as opposed to I gotta play this and I gotta play that, and this director better work with me, and I really, because I've seen it in my life. That's all that happens in my life. So it's like, what you can't. You're on this path, so if you try to deter from it, it will only make things more difficult. Stop making things more difficult for yourself.
Sure.
And define I don't even like the word lane. And I hate that when people say stay in your lane. Like, what if I want the whole highway? You know what I mean? Like, what if I want to slide and then I'm a bob and weave into the next lane, and I'm going to be that jerk that waits at the last minute to cross all the way over the 4 lanes to then get off on the exit. Like, it's not even about that, but it's more so just of like, just find things, associate yourself with people and things and books and literature that sparks your attention. Sometimes when let's for example say, like, if I know, okay, I have a couple of press events coming up, right? Sometimes if I don't feel necessarily like creatively charged in way of like what I want my looks to look like fashion wise, right? I will, because I was raised on it, I will go and watch old movies. I'll watch some old movie, like some Fred Astaire and Ginger, you know what I mean? Where you're giving looks. And as I'm watching the movie, I'll pause it, I'll screenshot it, things that inspire me. Sometimes you have to go back.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
You go back
Yeah.
And see, because that stuff in many ways was way before their time. You go back and you see things. I guess what I'm saying is you got to spark your attention, spark your curiosity. You would surprise your own self, because we are ever changing and evolving. It's the same thing of like, your palate changes, things that you really were into. You know what I mean? Like I'll sit and eat toast, and because you're on set, right? So they always are like, what do you want for breakfast? And I'll like for 2 weeks I'll be like, I want whole wheat toast with peanut butter, honey, and sliced bananas, and I will eat that every day. And then I'm like, they're like, so you want that? And I'm like, ew, no, like a crazy person. Like I didn't ask for that for 2 weeks, because it changes. You change, so it's like you got to change with the changes. And the only way that you can really do the best that is you is being true to you. When you try to do something else, you know what I mean? It just doesn't work. And so like, if I were to have tried to do, and me not knowing that this was an Eddie Murphy project, it was a blessing, because if I would have known, I would have tried to contort and change and mold and be a psychic as to what I think it is that he wants for me to book. So the blessing was in the, not even the naivete, but like the lack of knowledge. That was the same thing that happened to me for Ghost, which was the same thing that happened to me for Yale. I did not know the situation and circumstance that I was in, and it ended up working in my benefit, because I did not, it enabled me to have this narrative, right, that we have that anyone, but especially this internal monologue that an actor has, where you go down this slippery slope, you know what I mean, of self-sabotage and, you know what I mean, all that stuff, that it was like, all I could do was just bring her to the best of my ability to the forefront. And if I would have known too much information, it would have been a wrap. I already know it would have been a wrap.
Sure, and it would have been harder to, like you said, like it's a foundation. You're going, in order to have strong roots or to kind of be inspired by the things you know inspire you, you got to know who you are first and foremost. And that's what then helps in like auditions or in booking jobs or
and I'll say this, like, as an actor, live your life. You know what I mean? I don't care if you're living it on a budget, but like, seriously, live your life, because there's going to be times when you are working and when you're in it and you're hot or whatever, where you do not have a life. You know what I mean? Or you do not have,
you don't have
time for yourself.
Yeah.
Also, I think you need to live your life so that you can be a better actor, because you're having life experiences that you don't even understand, that you can take from later in life, that's going to end up serving you in certain roles that you play. If you just keep it real boring, you know what I mean, and real sheltered and
no
rigid.
Work-life balance. Yeah.
No, then or you can't, or then you're then limited as an artist and what you can portray, because at the end of the day, anyone can act. It's all about illuminating the human experience. But if you don't have that many experiences, what are you know what I'm saying? Like, what are you gonna, so like, do different things. If you're gonna temp, if you're gonna do, you know what I mean, make your hustle jobs be interesting ones.
Sure.
Not only ones that you can tolerate, but like, let it be interesting. You know what I mean? Like, go work at a museum. You know what I mean? Cool. Like, do something different. To each his own, but like, don't just keep it to temp jobs. You know what I mean? Don't just keep it to being an Uber driver. Or if it's an Uber driver, really take, actually, that's a good idea. Because if you were an Uber driver, you just have characters. If I was an Uber driver, no, seriously, if I was an Uber driver, I would, after everyone left, wrote down their name and wrote down like 3 or 4 things about them. And then you have a one-person show right there.
That's beautiful.
By the characters that, you know what I mean? Like, just be creative. Whatever it is, like, make your money how you got to make your money. Be on your hustle, but like, still challenge yourself. Find the fun in things and find the play in all of it, because I find those bigger projects that you have down the line, it's most times what gets you to book it is your sense of play, when your personality really rings out, because that's when then you're a shoo-in, because there's only so much you can teach. A lot of times, definitely in television, you gotta be, if it's a breakdown of 7 points on a television show, you have to be at least 5 naturally. Have 5 of those 7 things for free and in your back pocket. Otherwise, you're not gonna book it. It doesn't matter if you're talented or not. It's just the TV is fast, and it moves in a way. And half the time, honestly, after like halfway through the first season, the writers are then starting to come on set and observe you. They're stealing your stuff. They are.
Yes,
they're
writing to
observing.
the actor.
They are.
Yeah, totally.
They're observing your behaviors, little colloquialisms you say, little things you do with your body language, and they start saying, and you be like, "Wait, this sounds vaguely familiar. I don't know." You know what I'm saying? So it's like to be an actor. It's a full experience, full body experience. And so when you're unemployed, you can't take none of that stuff for granted. You know what I mean? Don't sit there being like, oh, well, it's over, or just hounding your agent. I mean, be on your agents. I'm all about it. Stay on top of them. But at the same time, like, really, for real, live your life. Really live your life, because it's going to end up, not only does it serve you, and again, back to that, do for you as well as do for you as an artist, but it's going to afford you opportunities. And then it's like joyful, you know what I mean? Because then you get that role and you be like, yo, that is a trip. I'm playing a cab driver, you know what I mean? Or whatever, or you know what I mean? Then it's like, or that's crazy. They're asking me in this callback to on the spot, improv and play this woman who's exactly like that lady who I drove. People don't need to know that.
Sure. No,
but
absolutely.
That's your gift that you're then given.
Yeah.
And that's most times when you then book it, because it's spot on.
Yeah. It's that creative fuel. And when you're not working, you can refuel, kind of.
My teacher once said to me, when you are auditioning, that's the work. When you book, that's the vacation.
Cool. Really?
If you think about it, if you really think about it, Ron Van Loo, head of the Yale acting department, guru, acting genius. When you are auditioning, that's the work.
Yeah.
And it definitely was the case for this show. There was several callbacks. That was work. So that when I then came to the set, then that's when I was like, okay, I got a pretty strong grasp and felt confident to then be in the room amongst this heavy hitters and be like, oh no, I belong. I did my work.
Good.
You know what I mean? So then you play. Yeah. You then play and I think what people are seeing in regards to our relationship and our bond on screen, it was ultimately a trust. We trusted each other, and that Eddie came to me like on some real stuff and was like, I'm very passionate about this. This really matters to me, and I want to take this to another level. It's not going to just be a ha-ha. You know what I mean? We're going to take this to another level, and I want to go there. And you're a trained actor, so let's do this. And I said, say no more. You know what I mean? Let's dig into it. But that takes a level of vulnerability, courage, and ultimately trust.
Yeah, and I love this idea of like, it's almost like you relax. Once you're on set, you've done a lot of the preparation through the audition. In this case, it was a rigorous audition process, right?
Yeah, and I told myself, I said, the night before, I said, you got 2 hours to geek out over this man, and then it's over.
You gave yourself a timeline.
Yeah, 2 hours. I said, because what you have to do, you have to be in this with him. Yeah. You know what I mean? You cannot get caught up on this is an amazing opportunity. You're meant to be here. Let's get to the work. And so, that had a lot to do with it. But that's right. It was, some people might look at it as like, dang, you had to do all those auditions. But it's like, no, that's the blessing, because the foundation was already there.
Right. Exactly.
Now it's already at a certain level. Now we get to take it to a whole nother level and dig even deeper.
That's right. Yep.
Because otherwise it could have still been good, but it would have been, a certain level of surface. Now we were able to, which is so important to me, demonstrate and exemplify complex, multi-layered characters.
And really listening to each other. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
This episode is brought to you by Universal Pictures' Us, starring Academy Award and SAG Award winner Lupita Nyong'o in an acclaimed dual performance as a woman who must defend her family against a terrifying and mysterious opponent. doppelgangers of themselves. For your SAG Award consideration in all categories, including Outstanding Performance by a Female Actor in a Leading Role, Lupita Nyong'o, and Outstanding Performance by a Cast in a Motion Picture. I want to hear about the whole, how you booked this role, because you didn't know Eddie Murphy was involved at first. Did you know who Lady Reed was? No.
I didn't know. I didn't find out about Eddie until the final callback.
Right.
I want to say maybe it was like 4 or 5 audition callbacks, maybe. Yeah. But I think I was one of the latter people to be cast. I just remember it wasn't that. It was definitely not more than a month after I got cast. I think I got cast. No, because my birthday's May 21st. I think my last audition, my final callback was May 22nd. Yeah, because I was like, no birthday party for me.
Happy birthday, yeah.
This is cool. Yeah, exactly. And so, and then we started in June. Yeah, so it was...
Sheesh.
It was real quick. It was really quick. Maybe like 2-3 weeks afterwards. But yeah, no, when I got the audition and the email, it was untitled, no script, just the sides. I looked up Lady Reed. I didn't know about Lady Reed. Me and my dad had a conversation, and he was like, "Oh my gosh, let me tell you everything."
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, about 5 minutes, and I was like, "Dad, why didn't you tell me?" He was like, "I raised daughters. Like, what do I look like?" You know what I mean? Being like, and Dolemite was and so I was like, "Wow, that's crazy." And so I watched all of their movies. And then there's nothing on her. There's no,
there's not information out there. I looked.
No. We have a dramaturgy department. They're like little detectives and historians. You know what I mean? That you have when you do a play and stuff like that. Like, I got my people on it. Like my little detectives, my little FBI agents.
I love a good
history.
dramaturg. Yeah, good.
Yeah, nothing. And I was like, what?
And she's a movie star. Yeah.
Yeah, it's tragic. It really upsets me and further gives me the drive to tell what other, you know what I mean, unsung heroes do we not know their stories about. But her party albums was my greatest resource. And listening to her voice, I really like dialects in general.
Oh, sweet.
And that helps me get into the essence of them. And for my final callback, they said they wanted me to memorize 2 minutes of her party album.
Oh, okay.
And so I got an Airbnb. You know, sometimes when you have a lot of work to do and you can't do it in your own space because you'll be distracted.
Yes.
So I said, I'm going to get an Airbnb. I'm just going to make sure it has like surround sound. And a pool.
Oh, okay.
And
this is in LA?
Yeah, work and play. Right, exactly.
Good.
Not even play, but like, so I wouldn't go crazy and then be like, okay, take a pool break. Now go back to the work. You gotta pace
yourself. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Exactly. But the biggest thing was surround sound. And so I
to really hear her voice.
I connected with my dialect coach, Beth McGuire, and she did the dialects for Black Panther.
Oh, sweet.
And that was cool to like go back to the basics with her and work with her on this. And we knocked it out. And then I just submerged myself in it, literally, that I had it on surround sound and was just playing. And the more I listened to it, not only was the thing she's saying very revelatory, you know what I mean? Because she was basically in an age in which women were very oppressed or objectified and saw as sexual objects.
Sure.
She was able to, she was basically instructing women on how to be independent and how to get what you need and what you want, and not to apologize. how to take control over yourself and not let a man control you, what to do in the bedroom, like almost like an auntie giving you a guide. Yeah, like when you get over the fact of like, okay, I get it, it's cursing and da-da-da. When you really listen and hear, you're like, yo, this is crazy. This lady is you know what I mean, before her time. And
way before her time.
Yeah, so it was like she was really talking to me. I mean, I probably seemed crazy, but it was like, you know,
talking to you.
Yeah, as well as like, you know, hearing different things in her voice where it was like, oh, she really meant that, or like, oh, she's trying to be cute and sassy with like just really decoding her in a way where I got to understand on a deeper level the essence of her. So between that and the movies, even though she's acting, but due to her being a very young actor in the game, a lot of herself showed through probably more than she realized. You know what I mean? Like,
oh, wow. Yeah.
And so I don't know if you noticed, but we do a scene from the actual movie where I'm in a red suit. And if you go back and watch the actual movie, she's by her being a young actor and wanting to do well and making sure that she said her line at the right time, I came to understand, oh, she memorized the whole script.
Oh, wow.
Including the other actors' lines.
Okay.
And she would mouth their lines. She thought discreetly. And we know actors like that. To make sure that she came in on her pickup.
Gotcha.
And so I was like, I have to. I would be doing this woman a disadvantage if I didn't show that, you know, but it just showed like her hunger and her eagerness to do a good job. Like this mattered to her. And it, you know, similarly, like we both didn't seek out acting, but it came to us and we ran with it. You know what I mean? And like, she's really was whatever she touched, she really gave it her all. And that's just so inspiring, you know, of someone who it don't matter where you come from, your background, do what you love. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And sometimes you're going to find out what you love along the way. So it's like you can't hold on so tightly.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Especially, I really do think that she's ahead of her time in the same way that Rudy Ray Moore is. Like they not ahead of the time, but also maybe more accurately, like outside of the mainstream, so far outside the mainstream that nobody like understands where they're coming from or understands what they have to offer.
One of Rudy's best friends is an openly gay man, and it is never commented upon, to be made fun of, or it's just one of the guys in this super like man group is like
in the 70s.
You know what I mean? Or you have a curvy black woman be the ingenue and you're leading lady. We still can't figure that. You know what I mean? Like we're still struggling with trying to figure out, is it okay
100%.
if they're over a size 6 or 10? Can we put her as the leading girl? Is that all right? Will people find that attractive? Is that sexy? I don't know.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. We're still working on that.
Yeah. Ooh.
Are you
Yikes,
you're taking this upon yourself? You're working on this. You're paving the ways. Well, and what can you tell me about this Billie Holiday movie? What are you doing in it?
I play her best friend Rosalind, who is a real person.
Okay.
So I'm doing 2 biopics back to back, which is super fun. And now to go into the 40s and 50s.
Cool.
It's a span. It's the last 10 years of her life.
Okay.
And it's called The United States versus Billie Holiday, and just more so focusing on a very specific section of her life and how the feds basically were just how they were deeply involved in these artists' lives trying to, you know, whether it was a threat of her being a woke black woman, you know what I mean? Or that she was sexually fluid. I don't know what it was. They felt as though it was a threat.
Too threatened.
And the measures that they took to take her down, and I don't think many people know about that. And so it kind of focuses it's focused on the last 10 years of her life, and I play her best friend who's also her pseudo manager and her hairdresser Yeah, and Andra Day is killing it.
Yeah, cool.
Killing it. Never acted a day in her life.
Wow.
And is killing it. She's really giving it her all. It's really a true pleasure working with her. She's really doing her thing.
That's awesome. And your real life character, was this another case of not a lot of information out there about her, or were there more clues?
I don't think so. I had just finished up with another project and came on to this one. So I didn't have as much time to do full-blown
a full
history.
Airbnb. Yeah.
Exactly. There was another project where I booked it, and then I was leaving in, like, once we sealed the deal, I was leaving in a week or two.
Sure.
Or I wasn't really, it was quick.
Yeah.
But I do know I saw a photo of her. There's a photo, and two, it's like a hairdress. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't
cool.
So,
yeah.
And it's a woman too. So I'm sure she's a person that the world would see as like a secondary or tertiary character, where they would just be like, she's a woman. Who cares? She just did her hair. But she was blind in one eye. So I rock an eye patch.
No way. Oh my God, I can't wait to see
tricky.
This. Oh my God.
It is, I don't know if I was supposed to say that, but we'll see. I'll find out if I was supposed to reveal that. But I mean, the real woman did, so I guess if you knew of her,
Sure.
But that is hard, because it throws all. You would think like, it's fine, I just close. You know what I mean? We close one eye all the time. It's no big. You start getting headaches.
Oh wow.
Because I guess you're overworking the other eye. But what's so crazy is the eye that hurts is the one that's covered. What do you think would be the eye that you're working? Yeah. So the other eyeball, you get those like horrible eyeball headaches.
Oh my gosh.
And then we have a scene where we're playing baseball. And so I'm up to bat. We're playing baseball. I cannot, mind you, I am an athlete. I played sports all throughout high school and middle school. I could not hit the ball.
With
and
one
they're
eye.
just cracking up because your depth perception is completely off.
Totally.
Even with one eye. And then I'm in heels and a tight dress. You know what I mean? So you're like,
oh boy.
Could someone
with
please
Lee
walk
Daniels.
me to my places? Yeah, with Lee Daniels. Yeah, it's amazing.
I cannot wait to see that. This is all I need to know, is that Da'Vine Joy Randolph is in an eye patch for this movie. I'm sold. I'm sold. Okay, thank you so much for all of this. I have to ask you, can I ask you some some silly backstagey actorly questions that we like to ask everyone? The first one is like, how did you get your big break? But can I ask you about Ghost? Because you have a crazy story about how you were originally cast as an understudy in that show.
I thought I was.
Oh,
that's what my reps told me.
Okay.
I think they didn't want. I was nannying. I loved my nanny job. I was nannying for a 6-year-old and an 8-year-old in Upper West Side. I was an afternoon nanny, so all I had to do was pick them up from school. So my job didn't start until like 1:00.
Okay.
I loved my job. I think my reps was like, well, this isn't really convenient in ways of like getting you seen. I thought it was great because I was like, that's 9 to 11. You got time.
Yeah.
And so it was all prefaced to me like, so this is what a swing is, and it allows you to like get money for it. Like they were telling me like, this is a logical thing to do so that you can get paid and still be open to other stuff, and we can audition you. And like, it's temporary-ish where, at a certain point you could end, like an ensemble, you don't have to renew after, the certain point. And so I said, y'all, I really don't want to do a musical. Like, I don't want to sing. And they were like, no, it'll be great. It'll be great. Because I was I am a classically trained opera singer.
Yes.
And I got kicked out of opera school. So I was a bit scorned with that. And I was like, I don't want to sing. Like, I want to leave that alone.
Yes.
And so that's why I was like, to clarify, I don't want to do musicals. But I also wasn't that like, oh my God, let's sing the lyrics of Rent in the car, like in the minivan as we go to field hockey practice. I didn't know it. You know what I mean? So I didn't grow up as like a performing arts-y kid. I expressed myself through art. You know what I mean? Like I was always singing or humming something, but or you know, creating something or drawing, or I was a creative person, but I never grew up being like, this is what I'm gonna do, this is what I want.
Yeah.
And so I auditioned, and it was with Tara Rubin, and Tara Rubin has done or does or did, I'm not sure, casting with Yale Rep in particular.
Right.
So we had knew of each other.
Yeah.
And I was told that there was already a current production that had been workshopped extensively in Manchester, England, and then was having a bit of a run. Was having a full run in West End, but that the leads, the 3 leads, Molly, Sam, and Oda Mae, were going to come to the States, you know?
Right.
But Equity has this rule that, you know, I call like the Transatlantic Exchange. If you take someone from the West End, you have to also take someone. If you take someone from the West End and go to Broadway, someone from Broadway has to go to the West End.
Oh,
it has to
I
be
didn't
an
know
even
that.
exchange.
Okay.
So I didn't know any of this stuff. So I was like, okay, I'm going to do this understudy thing, whatever. So when I go in, Lilius White is coming out, and I was like, oh my God.
Oh my gosh.
What are we doing? What am I doing here?
Oh my gosh.
Stop. Yeah. And she was like, have fun, baby. And I was like, okay. Thank you so
Lilius.
much, Lilius. I love you. Do you know what I mean? And so
I do. Oh my God.
I was like, okay, cool.
So maybe it's that other
And
thing,
so-
like you were saying about your other auditions, where you didn't know the extent of how big a deal it was, and then that helps you, maybe.
I didn't
the
know. I just
naivete.
was like, I know. For me, I was just like, I'm just a big fan of that woman and her talent.
Yeah.
But it was too late for me to be like, oh, is this like a big deal?
Yeah.
But again, and
You're already
even
in
then,
it.
it didn't register. Like, are they lying to me? Because why would she be a swing? Like, no way.
Okay, gotcha.
And so, I went in there. Director never looked at me.
Oh.
Head down.
Oh, boy.
Like he was asleep. Did the whole chunk of material. Guy never looked up. Tara was like, okay, well, thank you so much. And like escorted me out. And she was like, you did a really good job. And I was like, Tara, the man didn't even look up. So I doubt that that's the case. Please stop. And then 2 days later, my reps told me that I got the part, but I thought I booked the understudy. And so then later in the week, they were like,
okay.
do you know you booked it? And I was like, yeah. They're like, no, you got like the part, you're doing it. You are her. That lady's not coming. And then maybe like 2 months later, like if Thanksgiving's on Thursday, that Monday, I was working on a workshop for David Foster was doing a new musical, Betty Boop the Musical.
Okay.
And we were workshopping it. And I got this call from my reps, and they were like, do you have your passport? And I was like, I think so. But it's funny because I had auditioned for this Nestle's commercial that was going to shoot in Uzbekistan. And it was going to be like a chocolate fairy, right? And so I was like, yes, this shows you how, not basic, but like where my brain was thinking. I was like, yes, I booked a national Nestle's commercial. And they were like, no, the woman got hurt. And they want you to come and take over the role.
In the West
We had
End.
no rehearsals prior.
Yeah.
I had just booked it. I booked it and they said, keep it a secret. And then we weren't going to start until January, the new year. So I hadn't heard from those people, nothing. What's crazy about that is that in the West End, they have 3 understudies per main role. So imagine you fly in from New York and land and be like, hey guys, I'm going to do the part. And there's 3 understudies. They're like, none of us got it.
Oh boy.
This girl and
This American. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I didn't watch it. I'm lying. So I landed on Sunday. They had me at the show. I was knocked out cold, super jet lagged because I was getting off book on my flight because I was freaking out. How am I going to do this?
That's insane.
I had my first rehearsal on Monday. At the end of my rehearsal, the director, who was asleep, was like, absolutely fabulous, darling. So this is what we're going to do. You're going to have a dress rehearsal on Thursday, and then you're going to go on Friday. Fantastic. You feel good. God. So literally, I rehearsed that role for 4 days to have a dress rehearsal on Thursday to then go up on a Friday.
I've never
that week
heard
that I was there.
of such a thing. That's so
Yeah, that's what people
crazy.
say, and I feel like that's my life. That's the normal. I get that's crazy because that never happens. Well, it happened to me,
Well,
so it
I
happens.
guess it does happen. I guess it does. Okay, that's so crazy.
Crazy.
This is another question we like to ask. What is one performance that every actor should see and why? It can be a favorite. It could be TV, film, anything formative for you.
I think Marianne Cotillard in
As
La Vie en Rose.
yeah.
That
Cool.
that was pretty life changing. Or Amélie Poussin. Funny enough, 2 French ones, but like
Gotcha.
because sometimes they just take it slower, so you really see all the nuances. I think that all actors should study and observe foreign film.
That's a fantastic
Because
answer.
they all have their different styles. But it's like when if you live in a city and you go to South for the weekend or whatever, and you notice like, oh, they move slow, things are more deliberate, there's a different way
rhythm.
about it.
Yeah.
I find that with foreign films, it's a great scene study because sometimes Americans, we try to do all the flashy lights and the you know what I mean, and it's almost you want when you watch movies and it's predictable, you're like, and then he's gonna say, and then he says it, you know what I mean,
Totally.
or then he's gonna run away and then be like, no, Monica, and then come back, you know what I mean, like that is not in foreign film. Nowhere to be found.
Right.
And I don't even think it's because we're like trying to read the subtitles and catch up. I just think that they perform in a way that is just very grounded and nuanced.
Yeah, cool.
And it's solid.
That's great. That's great advice. What is that? You mentioned the director with his head on the table, but we like to ask, what is your worst audition horror story? By the way, I asked Eddie Murphy this question. He was like, I've done one audition in my entire life.
Yeah.
For Saturday Night Live.
One audition in his whole life.
Which, who can say that? That's insane.
Yeah. Horror audition? I guess that one with Ghost.
That sounds pretty bad.
Because it was like the man didn't look at me.
But then
you know
he
what I mean?
liked you.
I couldn't. Yeah. And I couldn't really read it.
Yeah.
Besides that, for me, I either know if I booked it or if I didn't. There's no in between. I know one way or the other.
Yeah.
So, I do my work. So I don't have a torturous audition process. Because I know I did the work. You know what I mean? So I'm able to let go of it when I'm done because it's like, well, either they want me or they're not, but I know it's not because of my talent. You know what I mean? It's a personal thing, but it's not because of my talent because I know I did my work. Yeah, and I know that I did my job. Now, if it was your opportunity to ask for it to be done in different ways, and whether I delivered that or not, that's on you. But I know I did my job, and that's not to be cocky, but I think a lot of actors really, really beat themselves up and torture themselves in this audition process, and you have to love auditioning, otherwise, why do it? But I think when you've done the work, that goes out the window.
Right. Yeah, you got to just be in the room. What's one piece of advice you would give your younger self? Last question.
Relax.
Oh, okay. Just relax?
Just to relax.
Okay. Yeah, that's great advice.
You know what I mean? Just relax and enjoy. And don't hold on so tightly. Like for me, it's in a sense of like it's gonna work out. I didn't really trip because I didn't know what I wanted to be when I grew up. You know what I mean? Like I could have been a chef, I could have been a lawyer, I could have been a social worker. Didn't matter. So for me, it was kind of like just chill.
Yeah.
Or not even just chill because I was chill, but in a sense of like good job. That's what I would tell myself, like,
take
good job,
moment.
It worked out. You didn't, you know what I mean? Like, thank God I didn't have, like, super tense stage parents, but, like, it worked out. Good job.
Yeah. Just taking that moment of like appreciation more often.
Yeah, that it happened. You didn't even know you wanted it to happen, but it happened.
That's beautiful. Thank you, Davine. This is awesome.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it.
This was so great. Backstage loves you. Do you have any parting words of wisdom? Any parting words?
To believe in yourself and not to give up, because there's a reason why you wake up every morning thinking about it. It's because it's what you're supposed to do. So you just have to continue to stay persistent and be your biggest advocate and just trust that it's going to come to you, because it will come to you. It just may not be when you want it, but it's going to be when it's supposed to happen.
Beautiful. Stunning.
Thank
Perfect.
you.
Perfect way to wrap things up.
In the Envelope, an awards podcast, is recorded at Lotus Productions and Hyperbolic Audio in New York City and Soundbox LA, Mark Gross Studios, and Buzzies in Los Angeles. Thanks as always to podcast producer extraordinaire Jamie Muffett and to the team at Backstage, Samantha Sherlock, Mark Stinson, Caitlin Watkins, and of course, Kasey Howe. Visit Backstage.com, and don't forget, you can subscribe to Backstage by using the code ENVELOPE at checkout for a free trial. That's right, 100% free. For more exclusive content, join us on Facebook and Twitter at In the Envelope, and subscribe, share, and leave a comment. Who would you like us to interview next? Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time for another glimpse in the envelope.